There's something that almost nobody talks about when it comes to people who always put others first. Most of the world sees you as someone who is too giving, too selfless, maybe even a little naive. People have probably told you to stop letting others take advantage of you, or you need to start thinking about yourself for once. And on the surface, it might even look like a weakness, like you somehow missed the memo that life is competitive and you have to fight for your own needs. But here's what those people don't understand. The way you show up for others, consistently, quietly, without needing recognition, is not a flaw in your character. It is one of the most psychologically complex and emotionally advanced ways a human being can exist. And the people who live this way almost always carry a set of rare inner qualities that most people will never develop in their entire lifetime. So if you are someone who always puts others first, this video is for you. Because today we are going to talk about the 6 hidden traits that you almost certainly have. Traits that psychology actually backs up. Traits that most people around you have probably never noticed, and traits that make you far more powerful than you have ever been given credit for. Stay with me, because by the end of this, I think you are going to see yourself very differently. Trait number 1, you have an unusually high level of emotional intelligence. Psychology defines emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage both your own emotions and the emotions of the people around you. And research consistently shows that people who are naturally oriented toward the needs of others tend to score significantly higher in emotional intelligence than the general population. Think about what it actually takes to put someone else first. You have to notice what they are feeling, sometimes before they have even said a word. You have to weigh their needs against your own and make a conscious decision about what matters most in that moment. You have to regulate your own discomfort, your own hunger, your own exhaustion, just to make sure someone else is okay. That is not weakness. That is an extraordinary level of inner awareness and self-control. If you have ever walked into a room and immediately sensed that something was wrong, even though everyone was smiling and acting normal, that is your emotional intelligence at work. If you have ever known exactly what someone needed to hear during a hard moment without them having to explain it, that is your emotional intelligence at work. Most people spend years in therapy or personal development trying to build what comes naturally to you. You were paying attention to the emotional world around you long before anyone taught you to. Trait number 2, you have a deeply developed sense of empathy that borders on being a gift. There is a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is actually stepping inside their experience and feeling it with them. And research in neuroscience has found that people who habitually prioritize others show greater activation in the parts of the brain associated with empathy and social connection. In simple terms, your brain has been trained, probably from a very young age, to tune into other people's inner worlds. You do not just understand that someone is hurting, you feel the weight of it, you carry it with you, sometimes even when you wish you could put it down. This is why you might find it genuinely difficult to enjoy yourself when you know someone close to you is struggling. It is not because you are codependent or because you lack boundaries, although those are conversations worth having. It is because your capacity for empathy is so developed that their pain becomes real to you in a way that other people simply do not experience. This trait is rare. Studies suggest that deep empathy is far less common than people assume, and while it can sometimes feel like a burden, it is also the reason you are probably one of the most trusted, most valued, most sought-after people in every room you walk into. People feel safe with you, and in a world where very few people truly feel safe, that is an extraordinary thing to offer. Trait number 3, you have a quiet but remarkable inner strength. Here is something that might surprise you. Consistently putting others first actually requires a tremendous amount of psychological resilience, because every time you do it, you are managing your own needs, your own emotions, your own disappointments, often in complete silence. Psychology shows that people who regularly suppress their own needs in favor of others develop what researchers call adaptive coping strategies, sophisticated inner tools for managing difficult emotions without falling apart. You have learned, often through years of practice, how to hold yourself together even when things are hard, how to keep going even when you are exhausted, how to smile and show up even when part of you is quietly breaking. Now, this does not mean you should keep suppressing your own needs forever. That is a real thing to address, and we will come back to it. But what it does mean is that the inner strength you have built is not nothing. It is not fragility dressed up as generosity. It is a genuine, hard-earned psychological toughness that most people around you would not last a week experiencing. Think about the last time you were going through something difficult, but still showed up for someone else anyway. That took strength, real strength, the kind that does not make noise or ask for applause. Trait number 4, you are driven by a profound sense of purpose and meaning. Research in positive psychology, including work influenced by Viktor Frankl's foundational ideas about meaning, consistently finds that people who orient their lives around contributing to others tend to experience a deeper and more stable sense of purpose than those who focus primarily on personal achievement or pleasure. In other words, the way you live is actually one of the most psychologically fulfilling ways a human being can live. Not in spite of the fact that you put others first, but because of it. When you help someone, something real happens inside you. Not just a brief good feeling, but a sense that your life matters, that you are connected to something larger than yourself, that what you do makes a difference. Psychology calls this eudaimonic well-being, a sense of flourishing that comes from living in alignment with your values. And research shows it is far more lasting and meaningful than the kind of happiness that comes from simply getting what you want. You might not have a grand title or a big bank account or 1,000 followers online, but if you have ever sat with someone through the hardest night of their life, or shown up when no one else did, or quietly made things easier for someone who never even knew you did it, you have experienced something that most people are genuinely chasing and never finding. A reason to be here. A sense that your life has weight. Trait number 5. You are highly intuitive, often in ways you do not even realize. People who consistently attune to the needs of others develop something that psychologists sometimes describe as social intuition, a finely tuned ability to read situations, people, and dynamics almost instantly. You pick up on subtle cues, the slight hesitation in someone's voice, the way someone's energy shifts when a certain topic comes up, the unspoken tension in a group that everyone else seems to miss. This intuition does not come from nowhere. It is built through thousands of small moments of paying close attention to the people around you. And over time, it becomes so natural that you might not even notice you are doing it. But think about how often you have had a feeling about someone or something that turned out to be right. Think about how often you have known what someone needed before they asked. Think about how often you have walked into a situation and immediately understood the emotional landscape in a way that others took much longer to figure out. That is not luck. That is a finely developed perceptual skill. And in areas like leadership, relationships, caregiving, counseling, teaching, and creativity, it is one of the most valuable things a person can bring to the table. Trait number 6. You have the capacity for a depth of love and loyalty that is genuinely rare. This might be the most important one. Psychology research on attachment and relationships consistently finds that individuals who are other-oriented, who find meaning in giving, who show up consistently for the people they care about, tend to form deeper, more secure, and more enduring bonds than people who are primarily self-focused. You do not love people lightly. When you care about someone, you really care. When you commit to someone, you really commit. You remember the small things. You notice when something is off. You stay. And in a world where so many people are emotionally unavailable, where so many relationships are shallow and conditional, the way you love is extraordinary. This is something that the people in your life may not always say out loud, but they feel it. They know probably on some level that they cannot fully articulate that you are different, that what you offer is not something they can find just anywhere, that losing you would leave a gap that nothing else could fill. The depth of your loyalty, your consistency, your willingness to show up again and again, these are not things everyone is capable of. They are rare, and they are worth more than most people know how to express. Now, before we close, I want to say something important. Everything we have talked about today, these 6 traits, they are real. They are genuinely part of who you are. But I also want to acknowledge something honestly, because this channel is about real psychological insight, not just feeling good for 5 minutes. Putting others first can sometimes come from a place of fear rather than freedom. Fear of conflict, fear of not being needed, fear that if you stopped giving so much, people might leave. And if any of that resonates with you, it is worth exploring. Not because it cancels out your strengths, but because you deserve to give from fullness rather than from depletion. You deserve to have your needs met too. You deserve to be chosen, not just needed. Your empathy is a gift. Your strength is real. Your capacity for love is rare. But so are you. And you matter just as much as every single person you have ever put first. If this video made you feel seen, if it gave you words for something you have been carrying for a long time, I would love for you to subscribe. We talk about psychology, personality, and the hidden inner lives of people like you every single week. There are so many more videos here that I think will resonate with you deeply. And take a moment today to do something kind for yourself, not because you have earned it, but because you were always worthy of it.